And away we go. When you do this, you have the option of not having to label every line because it takes a long time. So since you know you need -8, I would want you to at least label the negative side. Here was the mistake that I saw not everybody, but a lot of you make yesterday. Once you have your line to -8, you need to make a point at -8 to show this value. Okay, some of you just put like -8 underneath the line, but you got to make a point because you're actually plotting a point for -8. Once you understand that idea, you're pretty much just going to follow through with that concept through the remaining exercises. So here's 4, make a point. Notice for A and B, it doesn't mention anything about opposites. They just want you to plot that integer. When you get to C, they're not asking for -11. They're asking you to plot the opposite of -11, which is plain old normal regular 11. So I'm going to label my positive side and make my point at 11. And make that dot big enough so we can see it. What's the opposite of 5? Jordan, what's the opposite of 5? So we're going to plot -5. We should have that. Okay, letter E. There could be more than one answer. Any pair of even numbered opposites. So give me one pair that you might have been able to do. Logan. 2 and -2. What's another set? Amanda. 12 and -12. Give me another set. 4 and -4. Let's do all of them. What else is left? I mean, you could do 100 and 100, but 100 and -100, but you don't have enough lines for that. 6 and -6. 8 and -8. 10 and -10. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You have 12 lines. So any even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12, and their negative opposites would work. Okay, here we go. Should be -5. How many of you got that right? Okay, then how many got +10? Great. And finally, I think this is -11, right? I don't remember. Yeah, -11. How many got -11? Okay, let's go to the homework page. Page 10. Oops. For this, I'm going to label everything. We have to do multiple lines on here. Or multiple points. It's a little tight. I'm going to squeeze it in there. All right, we got to plot -2, +4, and +6. And its opposites. -2's opposite is +2. +4 is -4. And 6 and -6. You should have that. Looks okay? Okay, so now with number 2, everybody's might be a little different because if you're going to choose an integer between -5 and -10, there are different options. You can do -6. You could do -7. -8, negative 9 would all work. But let's just pick one. All right, who wants to do this? Who want to do this? All right, Reggie, go ahead. What did you start with? All right, negative 6. Did anybody start at negative 6? Who started with negative 7? Anybody start with negative 8? Neg 9? Most of you chose 6. All right, so we're going to label that R. Okay, now we go to the steps A through E. What is the opposite of R? Well, in this case, it's positive 6, and we're going to label that Q. Now we have to find a positive integer greater than Q. What'd you go with, Reggie? Okay. We're going to label that T, right? T. Okay, and then what was your negative integer greater than R? This is where many of you made a mistake. Okay. Your negative integer that's greater than R has to be to the right of R. Some of you saw negative 6 and went this way when you did your greater integer. No good. Because remember, everything to the right of this number, this letter R, is greater than that integer. What'd you choose? And that would work. I'm going to label that S. Okay, now your negative integer less than R, what was it? Okay, you went to negative 10 and made that U. And then finally, you had to pick something between R and Q. What'd you pick? That'll work. And that's V. I have a question for you guys that did this. It doesn't matter, I think, I could be wrong. It doesn't matter what you started out with. Did you wind up with U, R, S, V, Q, T? I think the letters all work out that way, right? The only thing that might be a little bit different is the V. I think the V could be somewhere in this area if I'm not mistaken. But U, R, S, V, Q, T should kind of be in that sequence. All right, let's finish it up. Number 3, will the opposite of a positive number always, sometimes, or never be positive? Who wants to volunteer? Come on, guys. Johnny G, what do you got? The opposite of a positive number is always what? What'd you put? Let's think about it. The opposite of a positive number, will it always, sometimes, or never be positive? Yes. The opposite of a positive is always negative, so it can never be positive. What about the opposite of 0? Always, sometimes, or never be 0. Chris. Yup. Always 0. 0 is 0. Can't go either way. All right. I really think that you can finish up the remaining pages on your own. I looked at it. It's very manageable. So if you're starting with, I think it's page 6. Yeah, page 6. The only difference between the remaining pages now is sometimes you're going to see number lines that are vertical. Can you think of any tools or pieces of equipment that has a vertical number line? A thermometer? because the temperatures go up and down, right? And there's such a thing as negative temperatures, right? You could have temperatures below zero, right? You've seen it. Anything else? How many of you went away over the vacation? I know you did. Were you in an airplane? I know you are. That's your hint. Not a timeline. What is that device called in the cockpit of airplanes? Does anybody know? I'll give you a ticket if you know it. You're close. It's called an altimeter. Tells you how high or how low you're going, okay, above sea level. The rest you can do in your groups, so group up and go.